I was recommended this game after I told some friends of mine that I really liked rhythm titles that disguise the songs as crazy and elaborate things, and to say that Rhythm Doctor does that is an understatement. Rhythm Doctor did something that few games really do for me these days. It made me think about really deep fundamentals that could have ripple effects on other indies, or at least, it made me ponder the difference between internal and external mechanics. You have but one button to time with the melody of each level, and you'd be forgiven for thinking this isn't complex enough to hold up an entire game, but after taking on the first boss, I was sold on the concept. Everything unexpectedly becomes a mechanic. Filters block your view, red X's mute certain beats, static drowns out sound. Things that would normally be inconsequential in the music genre end up being really fundamental here. Games like Nioh 2 might focus on inward mechanics, having a myriad of different skill trees and elemental affixes you can use across multiple weapon types and stances, but things like platformers usually have a simpler moveset where the player's enjoyment is dependent almost entirely on the level design, and as you've already inferred probably, Rhythm Doctor falls in line with the latter. It shows us that something as simple as a single button press can be elaborated on and sustain itself for an entire game. It demonstrates that with even the most minuscule amount of control over what's happening on screen, you can carry an entire story mode. Cameras pan and zoom across the screen while you try to sift through the visual and audio noise to keep up with the beat. Not many titles can get this transformative with their mechanics and interactions. Rhythm Doctor's simplicity is not an excuse, but a springboard to do more intricate and complex things. It has more enthusiasm for its one-button format than other games have for their endless piles of mechanics and interlocking systems. It would be harder for something like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry to elaborate on itself in giant ways that work with the levels themselves because there's already so much depth to the internal systems. Yet the simpler the inward mechanics are, the more important the outward mechanics become. Rhythm Doctor does not lay all its cards on the table right away. Throughout the campaign you'll get exposed to new ideas and themes, like the aforementioned X's that skip beats, flat lines that go off of the screen, and having to hold down the space button during certain songs. They seem small individually, but with how basic the premise is, deviations from the norm, even when tiny, end up being pretty substantial. I'm not sure it was smart for the developers to pace the first couple of levels like they have, because it isn't until you get to the first boss battle that you really realize what this title is capable of. Bosses feel like in-game AMVs. I don't often play indies where the characters just seem happy to be in the game they're in, but that's definitely the vibe I got here. And while I'm aware that fourth wall breaking is nothing new to video games, especially indies, I couldn't help but smile during the entirety of Foxy's All the Things. I don't mean to take away from the normal stages, by the way. They're also quite good, with Coffee Shop being my personal favorite due to its constant tempo changing and cute context. People and birds dance, run, and sing in and out of the melody. Old people recover, lovers reconnect, and a samurai vibes. On top of all of this, there's a level editor that's powerful enough that you can legit just make things on par with levels from the base game. Among the most popular are this Undertale one and a song called Square that has meta mechanics that are more than up to snuff with the developer crafted levels. So even if you're all caught up on the main story, you'll still have plenty to do while you're waiting for this thing to come out of early access. Oh yeah, and by the way, did you know that this thing is early access? Because it definitely could have fooled me. So at the end of the day, what do we make of Rhythm Doctor? Well, on a simpler and fundamental level, it's a really creative rhythm game that uses filters, obstructions, and transformative stages to keep its basic idea fresh and entertaining. But outside of that, I think filters as a mechanic could have more gameplay implications on the broader indie scene. A lot of it might work uniquely in music games since it's an idea based around sound, but I still deplore other independent developers to explore with the concept. Here's a video I did on stagger mechanics in video games. It's a cliche thing to say, but a like and subscription go a long way in helping this place grow. So if you liked what you saw today, do stick around. Thanks so much, and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.